Welcome everybody to another brand new video. So if you remember in the last video, I finished off our Evo 9, or so I thought. Did the brakes, the AYC pump and the oil and filter change. Swapped it over, which took ages to get it off the ramp as them carbon side skirts. Got the Corsa on, ready to start work. Well, I thought with the Evo, I'd take it for more of an extended road test. And this is what happened. So before, when I was driving this, I just nipped out to the shop to buy an ice cream, to be honest. Boosted up in first, second and third. It was fine. Yeah, thought everything was done. Once I took it out again to get it a bit warmer, I noticed our first problem, the speedo. If you have a look, it's not working. Once you get the car hot, the speedo just totally stops working. It was cutting in and out for a while, but yeah, when it's warm, it just doesn't work. And then the second one, so first, second and third gear was fine. You load up in fourth, ready? Clutch slip, and again, fifth. There we go. So the clutch is either a standard clutch in a 550 horsepower car, which is no good, or it's a performance clutch and the clutch is totally knackered. So it needs a clutch as well. Oh, and the third thing, it started raining. Tried to work the washers, nothing. So the wipers work, so the switch is obviously working. So that's 3 extra faults on our list to have a look at. So let's get it back to the workshop. So after that extended road test, I've got the Evo back on the ramp for the second time. So I'm going to start those next 3 jobs with the easiest and hopefully quickest first, which is the washers. So we know the switch works because on the road test, when I pull the stalk to work the washers, the wipers start working. So we know there's power to the switch. There's obviously a live going down to the body control module or relay to get them wipers working. So we'll start on the other end of the circuit, which is the washer pumps, and they are in the boot. So let's pop the boot. So on an Evo, there's very limited space in the front. So they put the washers, or washer bottle should I say, there in the back. Now I can see the wiring's all connected, but it's right down the bottom there. So I think we've got to get all these trims out and then get the tester, see if we got the live to the pump. So I took the cover off and have a look at that. See if you can guess what's wrong with it. That's right, weren't even connected, just pushed down the back. Probably lucky I took that cover off anyway because it was loose, there was no clips holding it in. So wiring back on, I'll put this cover, the trim back on with all new clips. Job's a good one, wish all the jobs were that easy. Then it's on to the next, which is the speedo. So speedo not working. I remember quite a few years ago, my mate Kev, all right mate, if you're watching, he had an Evo 7, I had to do a gearbox on, it was crunching into third. One of the worst jobs to go. Hopefully the Evo 9's a lot easier to work on than an Evo 7. Funnily enough, sent the gearbox off to get repaired because it was crunching into third, got it back, put it back in. It was then crunching into third and fifth. So I had to take it all back out again and send it back off. It was a nightmare. But I remember on his car, which is the same on this because I can see it, it's right down the back there. And it's got a conventional speedo sensor in the box. A lot of new cars now, they go off the ABS sensors to get the speedo, but this is like the old school ones. Now, I can't even see, well, I can just see it with a torch, but I can't even get near it. So a lot of this stuff, we got to get off and get out of the way, which I'm not going to bore you with. So I'm going to do it like this, a 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's much better. Loads of room in there now, and we can see all the way down there. That's our speedo drive, and here's the wire going to it. Let's just pull it off. So there's some weird thing right on the end of the wire. Let me just unclip it. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Now, Speedo doesn't work when it's hot, works when it's cold. If it was a wire, wires, once they're broke, you know, the speedo just wouldn't work at all. So it's got to be something that's electrical. Now this has got marks where the wires go in that have melted, and there's also like a pop hole in the bottom of it which looks like it overheated or something. I'll do a quick Google, find out what this is, back in a sec. Okay, so I found out that that is a kilometers an hour to mile an hour speed converter. So I suppose in Japan or anywhere where it's kilometers an hour, that wouldn't be fitted. That must be why it's 3 wires in, 3 wires out, because I bet you that connector fits on that speedo drive. Yeah, it looks knackered. Where the insulation is, it's got a big pop hole in it. More than likely, that's going to be the problem. So I'll get one of those in along with a clutch. But time for the horrible bit now. Let's carry on the next fault, which is the clutch slipping, and get this gearbox out. Let's go. So starting on this clutch, first thing we're going to do is drain the oil out of the gearbox and the transfer box. Then we move on to the prop shaft. So the front section just comes off on its own, straight out of the transfer box. So that's easy enough. Then that huge downpipe comes off. Luckily, it's been restored recently, so everything's coming off nice and easy. Next up, it's unbolting the front drive shafts. You can still see our lovely front Brembos, still looking good. Then undo the steering rack and anti-roll bar off the subframe and lower that down. In these Evos, there's a little center shaft that goes all the way through the gearbox and into the transfer box. You've got to pull that out, usually a slide hammer, but it pops straight out. And then we're dropping that transfer box. This thing is mega heavy and mega expensive, so I've got to be real careful. Dropping the car down, put the upper engine brace on, and then we can take off that upper engine mount. Then, being super careful again, let's lower that gearbox down. This thing is absolutely massive, and again, it's super heavy, but luckily I'm a big strong boy. And once that's out of the way, we can see our clutch. So looking at the clutch, it's definitely not standard. Is there a crack? It's cracked. Oh, look at that. Do you know, I've only just noticed, I'll see if I can zoom up, it's actually cracked at the top there. So yeah, that's going to be our problem, I think. What's the part number? So the part number, where's my phone? ACT, it's an MB018. So let's do a quick Google search. And it comes up, MB018, heavy duty pressure plate, capable of, let's have a look, where's the BHP? Oh. It just says capable of 20 to 50% more pressure. So let's go off the maximum, 50% more pressure. So we've got an FQ320, 320 brake. 50% of that is 160 horsepower. So add that horsepower, 160 plus 320 is 480. So, well, give or take, that's rough. So this clutch is good for 480, 500 horse. And our car's 550 horse. So possibly why it's shattered the pressure plate there. I think it's a quick call to Dream Car and see what they want to do about it. Let's give them a ring, give them the good news. So we're 3 days later and we've got a new clutch here. Phoned up Dream Car Giveaways and it's just great working with them, to be honest. They're like, whatever it needs, whatever the cost, you know, we'll get it sorted. So they deal with these kind of performance cars every day. They know the suppliers, so they were straight on the phone, said what car it is, what power it is, and yeah, we've got a clutch. So this is made by Competition Clutches, and bonus, we get stickers with it, so that means it is the best clutch ever made. They'll go straight on my toolbox. It's good for 700 horsepower. Costs £800, but it's what's needed. And it's not a paddle clutch. It's a normal type clutch that the friction plate is uprated. That means it will still drive like a normal car. You get a paddle clutch and the clutches are either on or off, and you know, you're going through traffic like this, it's not what you want. You never know who the winner of this car might be. It's good to have a fast car that you can still drive normally. We can see at the back here, the old clutch, it's had a real hard life. Apparently, I found out in the end that clutch is rated to 550 brake, so you know, it was right on its limit, and that's why it's broke. But yeah, with the new clutch here, we can start rebuilding our Evo and get it sorted. The speed sensors come in tomorrow, that little box we need, but basic rebuild, everything in reverse, so here we go. And then our job's all done. So we've got a working speedo, the washers work, and most importantly, we've got a clutch that don't slip. So at last it's ready to go back to Dream Car giveaways. They've just moved into a new building and they've got like paint correction booths in there, so I expect they'll get this in there, go over it, make it absolutely perfect, and then put it on the competition site. It's a wonderful car and it goes like stink. Somebody will be lucky to own this. So, as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-da!